Do we really want stability and comfort? Is that really what we're searching for? Do you really want the American dream? I think a lot of people would argue that the American dream doesn't exist anymore. I would say that the American dream is alive and well. It's a lot more expensive than it used to be, but is very much alive and well. Except it's been co-opted. It doesn't mean the same thing that it meant 60 years ago. It has changed a bit, but essentially it's a lifestyle based on conformity to our culture. It's like a way that our culture has kind of herded its citizens into this comfortable lifestyle that kind of ends up becoming a cage. We get a little bit too comfortable to the point where we're not willing to step up and rebel against what we see as a dangerous idea or society. Is that really what we're looking for? And don't get me wrong, this way of life, going to college, getting a good job, finding a partner, finding a house or a nice apartment in the city, maybe having a kid, some pets, going out to eat every other night or so, watching some movies, saving up for vacations a couple times a year, and then, repeat this cycle until retirement. It's not necessarily a bad thing, but I get the sense that many people have never actually questioned why they have pursued that lifestyle. Did they consciously choose this, or were they kind of herded that way because that's what society tells us to do? I think this kind of lifestyle is what drives people crazy. How many times have you heard that story of the person who had it all? They had the big, tech job and made all this money and just felt absolutely diminished, like their life force had been taken from them, siphoned out of them. And then they sell all of their assets, right? And they buy a van and travel the country, or go travel the world, or they go write that book they always wanted to write. They started pursuing their actual dreams, the things that made them fulfilled within themselves. See, I think that's the point here, is we have to question whether we're going down a path that we've consciously chosen or not. And that's the difference between an unfulfilled life and a life that is authentic. It's authentically us. We have to take risks. We have to go on side quests. Side quests build main characters. Sometimes we have to take that machete out, sharpen it up, and get off the beaten path and start hacking our way through the forest, hacking our way through the jungle. Yes, it's hard work. You're going to get bloody. You're going to get sweaty. You might get bit by something. But in the end, it's far more fulfilling. And as cliche as it sounds, this is what builds your character. It's not about the, destination. It's about the journey, right? And so we got to take these side quests, man. We got to take risks, not just for the sake of taking risk, but to really forge ourselves in the character that we're meant to play. I've taken a few risks over my life. I'm almost 40 now, but when I was 35, I finally felt like I knew what I wanted to be when I grew up. And so I decided to go back to college and pursue a career in psychology. I want to become a psychedelic therapist. Now, many people may say, well, college isn't necessarily a risk, is it? Like, that's kind of one of the paths to, this mundane lifestyle you're explaining to me. But you got to understand, for me, it's like when you're 35, sometimes we feel like we're on this timeline and we're behind on this timeline. We look around at other people and they got all of this stuff already accumulated. They have these comfy, lavish lifestyles. They're taking the trips. They're doing all the things. They have the cars. They have the, the vacations. And we kind of compare ourselves to that. And that's kind of where I was. And that's why it was a risk to me, because it's like, all right, I'm going to dedicate myself for the next 7 years and I'm going to miss out on a lot of good money making time. I have kids too. It's not like it's just me, I have responsibilities, and it really felt selfish to me. Like I wasn't, you know, providing the opportunities for my children, and I was just pursuing my own selfish goals. But now looking back on it, I'm completely happy I did. I'm completely happy I went to school, because my kids are getting to see an example of what it's like to keep pursuing your dreams and invest in yourself, not just, you know, settle for whatever comes along that makes you money. You know what I mean? So I'm glad, and I'm with these kids in this school. They're half my age. They're 20 years old, and they're a lot of them are in the psychology department. And I hear them talking about, well, I don't know, maybe I'll just be a guidance counselor or something. They're not really mapping out why they're doing what they're doing. They just know that they got to get the degree to make the money, and it's kind of like I'm watching these people in real time just get herded off to slaughter, you know what I mean? And so for me personally, I feel like it's perfect timing. Like when I'm 43 years old or so, I'm going to come out, I'm going to be a licensed therapist, a licensed psychedelic therapist, and I'm going to have years of, life experience. I'm going to have a lot of struggle, a lot of suffering, a lot of pain that I've endured and overcame, and lessons I've learned and knowledge. And I'm going to have a better foundation at 43 as a therapist helping people than some 23, 24-year-old kid coming fresh out of college that really hasn't had much life experience at all. So, you know, you never really know like what your risk or your challenge is, like how it's going to benefit you. You know what I mean? And when I was 35, I decided to go back to school, right? And then after about a year, I decided to take another risk right in the middle of that and start a business. I'd always wanted to start a business. I had learned sales. I'd got into management at a few jobs so that I could learn how to lead people. And I was like, well, I've done those things. I'm ready to take the leap. I had about 10K saved up. And so I went for it. Me and a buddy, we thought we were going to be the next psychedelic entrepreneurs selling mushroom grow kits, the next Ram Dass and Timothy Leary, the next McKenna brothers. We thought we had it made. And for a while, it was going really good. But in the end, it was a massive failure. I walked away from this business partnership, 30K in debt. But the risk was worth it. I learned how to build a product. I learned how to market the product. I learned how to do email marketing. I learned how to build a website. I learned how to close a deal. I learned how to fulfill orders. I learned what it meant to be in a rush and grind. And I pushed myself to the brink of madness doing this business. And I'd never pushed myself that hard before. And so, 30K, yeah, it was a pretty expensive education over 2 years, but it's something that I'm going to take with me forward for the rest of my life. And so we got to take risks. Side quests are for main characters, and all the people on the same path, that's NPC territory right there. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes we gotta pick up our sword, we gotta throw on the armor, hop on our horse, and get off of the path. And we got to start heading towards that mountain out there that is looming over us and it's calling us. It's scary because it has dark clouds and there's lightning crashing, but we got to head directly towards that mountain and go slay the dragon that lives atop it. This is main character energy, and you got to go do it. So, if this is anything, let it be a sign to give yourself permission to go for it and get out of the well-trodden path. Because if you keep going down the same path that everybody else is going down, you're just going to end up where everybody ends up. You're going to get what everybody gets. And if you want to live that true life of authenticity, you're going to have to take a risk and really go for it and really ask yourself what it is you want to do. Try hobbies, try business ideas, figure out, this is where you forge yourself into who you are. A lot of people say building a business is like personal development on steroids, and they're right. It is. You're going to get uncomfortable. You're going to be tested. Your grit is going to be tested. Your will is going to be tested. What are you made of? How far are you willing to go? But it's a worthy path. It's a very worthy path. And I encourage you to take it. Well, I think that's the message for today. Once again, find myself out here in the beautiful Sonoran Desert next to these teddy bear cholla. Probably gonna have to pick a few out of my boots right now, but I appreciate you joining me on this video today, and we'll see you on the next one. All right, peace.